Mirrorless cameras are a great option for beginner photographers, thanks to their electronic viewfinders, which let you see how different camera settings affect your image in real time through the viewfinder. With plenty of options at a range of different price brackets and experience levels, making the jump from your smartphone has never been easier. Though it might be tempting to dive right into a more advanced model, the good news for those just starting out is that any modern mirrorless camera will be more than capable of doing what you need it to. The most important thing is to simply start shooting and get a handle on the basics, because if you can't take good photos with a budget model, you won't get very far with more advanced cameras anyway. Thankfully, we've done some of the work of narrowing down your options for you. We've bought and tested over 75 cameras, and below you'll find our recommendations for the best entry-level mirrorless cameras. We've stuck to models that retail for under $1,000 here. But if you're looking for a more advanced camera, see our picks for the best mirrorless cameras. Otherwise, you can also take a look at the best mirrorless cameras for under $1,000. Or, if you think you'd prefer the optical viewfinder and longer battery life that you get with a DSLR, check out our list of the best DSLR cameras for beginners instead. Number 1. Nikon Z50. The Nikon Z50 is the best entry-level mirrorless camera we've tested, with plenty of features that even more advanced users can take advantage of. At this price point, you get a very well-built camera with a sturdy magnesium alloy body, with some weather sealing to give you more peace of mind when shooting in the rain or snow. It has a large high-res viewfinder and feels super comfortable to shoot with. Photos look amazing straight out of the camera, thanks to Nikon's excellent color science and a sensor that does well in low light and preserves a fairly wide range of detail in high-contrast scenes. That said, it doesn't have the most reliable autofocus. It isn't bad, but its tracking isn't the quickest or most accurate compared to the similarly priced Sony ±6400. The Sony is a great alternative, although its menu system is a lot less accessible to beginners, and its ergonomics leave a lot to be desired compared to the Nikon. Ultimately, the Nikon is a well-rounded camera that can easily grow with you as your skill level improves. Number 2. Sony ±6100. If you don't want to spend quite as much, consider the Sony ±6100, the entry-level model in Sony's current lineup of APS-C cameras. It's very similar to the Sony ±6400 mentioned above. However, unlike that model or the Nikon Z50, it has a lower resolution viewfinder and a more plasticky build with no weather sealing. Despite these hardware differences, this is still a great option for those getting started with photography. It uses the same high-resolution sensor as more expensive models in Sony's APS-C lineup, and has the same highly effective autofocus system that Sony cameras are known for. It's also a great option if you do a lot of traveling since it's portable and has a very good battery life compared to most other entry-level mirrorless cameras. That said, its menu system is fairly convoluted and hard to navigate, which is especially annoying, given the limited number of command dials. If you don't mind some of its design quirks, this is a great camera to start photography with. Number 3. Canon EOS M50 Mark II. For those on a budget, the best beginner option we've tested is the Canon EOS M50 Mark II. The small but mighty camera is a highly popular budget model, offering a ton of value for its price, especially for aspiring photographers and vloggers. Unlike the previous picks, it has a fully articulated screen, which is good for selfies and vlogs, but less convenient for waist-level shooting. The camera is super lightweight and incredibly easy to use, with a simple control layout and intuitive touch menu navigation. However, the big trade-off with this camera is that, while it's technically capable of shooting 4K video, it crops insignificantly, resulting in poor autofocus and stabilization in this resolution. So picks like the Sony ±6100 or the Nikon Z50 are better if you're interested in video. Another thing to note is that Canon has all but abandoned its FM mount to focus on RF mount cameras, including new APS-C models like the Canon EOS R10. That means we're unlikely to see any new FM lenses, but the good news is that the M50 Mark II is still a great deal, especially if you don't see yourself buying a bunch of different lenses. If you'd like more lens options, the older Sony ±6000 is still available and makes for a great bargain, despite showing its age in areas like viewfinder resolution and autofocus. Number 4. Olympus OM-D-EM10 Mark IV. If portability is your biggest concern, check out the Olympus OM-D-EM10 Mark IV. It's the only camera on this list with a micro four-thirds sensor, which means not only a smaller body, but also smaller, and, generally, cheaper, lenses, making for a more portable overall camera system. This model is also very beginner-friendly, with an intuitive button layout and a live guide function that lets you adjust aspects of the image when shooting in auto mode, a handy stepping stone to learning how to shoot manual. While the smaller sensor isn't as well suited to low light as APS-C alternatives like the Canon EOS M50 Mark II above, it does leave more room in the body to implement sensor shift stabilization. It's the only camera on this list to feature in-body image stabilization, IBIS, which helps reduce camera shake when shooting handheld. Still, if the sensor is a deal-breaker, the compact Canon EOS M200 has the same high-res APS-C sensor as the Canon EOS M50. Just know that you'll be ditching a viewfinder, and lenses won't be as compact as micro Four Thirds lenses. Number 5. Canon EOS RP. While crop sensor cameras offer beginners the best balance of price and performance, a full-frame camera gives you roughly an additional stop of low-light capability and better bokeh. However, these advantages will likely be lost on you until you've gotten a handle on the basics. If you're set on jumping right into full-frame or know you'll need the extra low-light advantage, the Canon EOS RP is Canon's entry-level full-frame offering. It's even pricier than our top beginner pick, the Nikon Z50, and you'll also be paying more for lenses, but it'll give you full-frame image quality at about as low a price as you can get, short of buying secondhand. The RP is relatively light and portable, compared to other full-frame options, and its simple button layout is designed to be as accessible as possible to newcomers, although more advanced manual shooters might find the relative lack of control dials limiting. Thankfully, it's very comfortable and has a large viewfinder and a fully articulated touchscreen. While it can take high-resolution photos with less noise and low light, it lags behind many of our APS-C picks in battery life, burst rate, and dynamic range. Only consider it if you need that added low-light performance, or if you've already got some full-frame lenses lying around.